Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today I'll be playing another premiere draft of Wilds of Eldraine with Alchemy added to the mix. This is a Wilds of Eldraine Alchemy premiere draft where one card out of every pack has been swapped out for an Alchemy card, like the third little pig here. It's a very cute card, very cool card, not something that's going to work in draft at all, because there's only one Alchemy card in every pack. You're not going to get a lot of Conjuring, so we can write off the Alchemy card for our pack one pick one, and honestly, this pack's incredibly weak. Nothing in here that you would really want to take pack one pick one, so I'll probably just grab the rare, the Restless Bivouac, which is going to be great if we're a red-white deck or if we're just splashing in red or white. Either way, it's going to be fine. There's really just nothing near pack one pick one quality out of this pack, so rare draft a bit for the collection, and a bit for just being the strongest card in the pack. Pack one pick two now. I have no idea what was taken out of this pack because it is still tremendously powerful, and I think I'm going to prioritize the red cap Gutter Dweller here with the Restless Bivouac. It's also just a tremendously powerful card up front, probably better than the other rare. This is a 4 mana 3/3 menace, and it enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 rats, and at the beginning of your upkeep you can sacrifice a creature to put a +1/+1 counter on it, and exile the top card of your library. You can play that card this turn, so it gives you that impulse draw, where you have to play whatever you draw into the turn that you draw it, but it's still extra card draw. It's still an insane card. Even just a 4 mana 3/3 menace that comes with 2 rats is wild, so really great card. The Alchemy card out of this pack is Talion's Throne Guard, a 4 mana 2/1 flash flying creature with bargain as well. When it enters the battlefield, no matter what, you return a spell or non-land permanent to its owner's hand, which is crazy. But if it was bargained, you also make that spell cost 2 more to cast. So it's like the Nightclub Bouncer, but even bigger if you can bargain with it. So really, really spicy card there as well. But we're going to go with that Gutter Dweller to go with our Bivouac. For pack 1, pick 3, the Alchemy card is very fun. The Steady Taurus. For pack 1, pick 3, the Alchemy card is very cute. The Steady Tortoise. The 1 mana Harry Dash gives you the rat that gets to keep attacking and triggering the tortoise's ability where it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, even if it's sitting there in exile. So by the time you play, it's just a really big creature. So very cute card there. It's between Witch's Vanity and probably the tortoise just because it's cool. Don't know how that factors into the power level of cards in this pack, but it's another pretty weak pack. I like the Flick a Coin. I like the Witch's Vanity. Lookout's fine, Tortoise is fine, so Tortoise might be in the top 3 with the Flick a Coin and the Vanity, but I'm just going to go for the Witch's Vanity here. Really efficient, nice little, not really a 3-for-1 because a food token and a Wicked Roll aren't worth a card, but you get to remove a creature and get some extra pieces of value off of your removal spell as well, so it does stack up into very good value, so I do like that card quite a bit. For pack 1, pick 4, we have a Ratcatcher trainee out of red, which is excellent with red cap Gutter Dweller. They both fit into very similar decks, and it's just one of red's best commons. Our Alchemy card here is the Accident Prone Apprentice. A 2 mana 1/1, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it perpetually gets +1/+1. Also triggers if it's in exile. And it's got a 2 mana instant adventure. Till end of turn, something becomes a 1/1 with no abilities. Okay, so it's this combat tricky little adventure where you turn their blocker into a 1/1 and you win that combat, and then you have this apprentice just keep getting slowly bigger over time. Very cute, very cool. I'm just going to stick to the Ratcatcher trainee to go with this Gutter Dweller, though, because that card is just so nuts. I'm pretty happy to take an equally powerful card, I think. I think the trainee's still about as good as that adventure card. And definitely better than the black uncommon removal spell out of that pack, which looked fine, but that card really gets good when you are in a fairies deck. So here for pack 1, pick 5, we have Grand Ballguest to go with Ratcatcher trainee and Red Cap Gutter Dweller. Both of those cards trigger its celebration, get it to deal some extra damage, which is sick. We can also take Cooped Up if I want to jump onto white here, because we do have that Bivouac. But I think I'm just going to keep it red for now, although Cooped Up might be enough better than Ballguest to take over it. But I'm just going to cut red out of the packs and make sure we can get our Gutter Dweller really working here. Pick 6 now. Pretty empty pack overall. There's the Archon's Glory for a solid combat trick out of white. First Little Pig for a solid creature in green or white. And a Threadbind Click for a great creature for the splashier kind of blue and white controlling decks. Very far away from wanting the Threadbind. It's just between the Archon's Glory and the Little Pig here. And I guess I'll take the Little Pig since it's the new card. It's the fun one. It's the one I don't have any of in my collection yet. And this we could play if we're red-green or red-white, so technically a little more likely. And we do see a Picnic Ruiner here, which could head us down the green-red direction, because I do think stacking up the value of its adventure and the little creature that it provides you is pretty good. So I do like Picnic Ruiner. We do green-red it up. Now there's another Grand Ballguest to go with the Ratcatcher Redcap Gutter Dweller. Good stuff there. I like Titanic Growth too. That's reasonable. Dragon Mantle's reasonable. Well, let's grab the Ballguest. And pick 9, just get a 4-mana 4/4 Galefang here. Just solid beef for the mana cost. We could also take Witch's Mark, which makes the cut pretty much no matter what, as a decent little card draw spell. Then I don't have to lock in on a second color yet. I'm actually pretty fine with that. We'll take the Witch's Mark. Pick our second color later. It's a pick 10 Glass Casket or a pick 10 Moment of Valor, both a little bit narrow removal spells, but fine removal. I'll take the Glass Casket here. But those are some decent white cards to see that late, and Flick a Coin's super decent to see pick 11. Stockpiling Celebrant pick 12. I guess we are just red-white. Because Stockpiling Celebrant is a white card that I would take pretty highly, because a lot of the other white cards in the format synergize super well with it. There's a lot of good enter the battlefield effects in the color, especially with Hopeful Vigil and stuff, and that's pick 13 cooped up. Even Return Triumphant is pretty nice, and it's got some great combos, but yeah, white is wide open, and red we have really powerful red cards, so I guess we're red-white. Pick 14 Archon's Glory. So yeah, the pack 1, pick 1 Restless Bivouac, I was actually just omnipotent. I just could see the future, see it all coming. Or omniscient. Omnipotent is all-powerful, not all-seeing. Anyways, we're going to grab a Regal Bunnicorn now, which is a massive creature for its mana cost. Once you get to later in the game, this thing is like a 5/5 at minimum most often, and you only spent 2 mana to play it initially. Card is super good. Love me a Regal Bunnicorn, especially in a red deck that has access to so many rat tokens with Rat Catchers and Gutter Dwellers. We're going to be taking those kind of rat producers highly. We'll see what the Alchemy card is here. Draconic Debut. A red and X to deal X to any target, and then make the next dragon you cast cost X less to cast. Not even this turn, because it's an Alchemy card, you can tap out for this and then play a really big dragon the next turn. Very cool card for Constructed, just okay in Limited. It's just Fireball, which is solid, but definitely not as good as a Regal Bunnicorn. For pack 2, pick 2, we are in a very aggressive color pair with a lot of cards that would love to keep as many creatures on the board as possible, and Harried Spearguard's great at doing that. It just chips in for damage early, replaces itself with another creature to make sure your board state stays wide for your cards like Bunnicorn. So we'll just take the Spearguard here. We're pretty locked in. Might as well check out some of these Alchemy cards. Paths of Twinvale, this is going to bounce a creature on both players' boards, but the creature that you bounce is cheaper, and the creature they bounce costs more. So you tax your opponent. Pretty nice. Pack 2, pick 3, Ash Party Crasher is incredible for our color pair. I could try to wheel it because of how open white was, but that might be a little greedy, because I think Ash is going to be much better than anything else here. Even Rotisserie Elemental, which is very good as well, being able to potentially draw you some extra cards later in the game. I'm just going to make certain we get this Ash, because somebody might even hate drafting Ash by the time this pack comes back. What is the Alchemy card this time? Conjure a Gilded Goose onto the battlefield. Then you can tap your bird and sack an artifact to make a golden egg. Weird. I don't know how good that is. I guess you draw a card with golden egg when you play it, right? So that's pretty good. Get a Gilded Goose and draw 2 cards over the next 2 turns. Alright, that's interesting. Land tax. I don't think aggro decks really care about land tax at all, and we're definitely aggressive, but this is a fun card to build around a little bit in more controlling decks. Pretty cute. Can draw you a lot of extra cards, just all those cards are basic lands, which still thins your deck, so Very interesting, but not for this deck. I think this deck just wants a belligerent to the ball. We're trying to trigger Celebration quite a bit already now that we have an Ash in the deck. And while we're triggering Celebration, the belligerent can get some menace attacks and find a bunch of extra damage. Pack 2, pick 5. There's another Paths of Twin Veil from the Alchemy cards. Let's sort our non-creature cards out here and see how that mana curve's looking. It's looking pretty good on 2 drops, which is usually what I'm hurting for, so I guess we don't really need the Armory Mice here. We can just grab a 2-headed hunter for the top of the curve, and I'm perfectly happy with that. Apprentice's Folly is fun to try to build around, and it can go infinite with stockpiling Celebrants. You can just keep picking up the Folly with them, but I think we just want to play a pretty streamlined 2-color deck for just trying to win some games here. The more aggressive you are, the more streamlined you want your mana base to be. Don't really want to do much crazy splashing shenanigans. Daredevil's always fine filler. Clothier's also always fine filler in these kind of decks, but that's all we see here in this pack, really just fine filler. So we'll take that Daredevil. Now we'll take the Twin Veil Guide, fine filler at the 4-mana slot. My favorite cards in this pack are Hollow Scavenger, Werefox, and Minstrosity. I like all those a lot. Ruby's very nice too. It's a spicy green pack. What does this Alchemy Castle do? Weird. Okay. So that Alchemy Castle, one time, you can use it to scry 3, and then make your opponent's next creature hit the board tapped with a stun counter. But that's it. Just one time in the whole game. Weird. Very, very interesting. This is an easy edge wall pack. It single-handedly triggers Celebration. Makes our board state wider, which is excellent. Now I'll take a cheeky House Mouse, although, I mean, there's a decent argument for just another Spear Guard here. We are much heavier into red than white. So if we stick just super heavy to red, we can basically make white just a splash and don't have to worry about turn 1 white mana. Just really turn 2 for Ash. Yeah, I'll take the Spear Guard here. I'll take the Grasp of Fate, but I'm not sure it's going to make it in here because of the restrictive double white mana cost in the end. Don't think Frostbridge Guard's going to make it in. Third Spear Guard certainly might. Here's a Sneak Attack. Sneak Attack our tiny creatures into the deck. Alright, pack 3, pick 1. We've unfortunately opened up a green Alchemy rare, so we don't get to play many spicy Alchemy cards in this deck. I think the only Alchemy card we have right now is a First Little Pig. We just have a bunch of good red-white aggro stuff, which is a little sad. What does this do, though? Conjure 3 or more... If you control 3 or more boards with different names, conjure each card from the 3 big spellbook onto the battlefield. If you control 2 or fewer, conjure 2 of them into your hand, then put 1 on the battlefield. So it's just the 3 little pigs. You just draw a collection of them. That's really cool. I think we just want a Hearth Elemental here for the top of the curve. If we run out of stuff to do, the Hearth Elemental is a really good way to get back in the game. You do not need a lot of instants and sorceries for this. You don't really care if you're getting that cost reduction. Obviously, if you do, it's going to be even better. But the part that's so good about this card is once you run out of things to do, you just go, boom, I'm just going to draw 2 and also have a 4/5 to play at a later time. So it's just really good at the top of your curve in any red deck. Now we can take an Edge Wall in. It's going to be fixing, and it's going to be able to pick up a Hearth Elemental or a 2-headed Hunter or a Minecart Daredevil or a Ratcatcher trainee late in the game, which is nice. And there's nothing great on color. I guess Non-Crescendo. Having 1 copy of Non-Crescendo in this deck would be pretty good, but I think that's much more likely to come back around than Edge Wall in is. Because everyone can take an Edge Wall in. I will very, very, very happily take a cut in. I don't have a ton of removal right now, and this is one of the best removal spells for aggressive strategies, giving you that young hero roll to get extra damage in while clearing out a blocker. Card is super premium when you are aggressive. So we will be taking that. Alchemy card is another one of these little otter wizards. Super adorable. No alchemy card left in here. Also nothing great, although now that I have a cut-in for a young hero roll, we could take a Ginger Brute, but just 1 young hero roll doesn't really get there with the Ginger Brute. We want to consistently be able to slap them onto him. I don't really want an Evolving Wilds. I don't really want a Stroke of Midnight, Impact Tremors. Just take another Picnic Ruiner, I guess. Splash that in off Edgewall in. The green part of the card. 4th Spear Guard. This is awkward. Pack 1, it really felt like our colors were absolutely wide open, but I guess people just opened red and white rares in pack 2, and then just everyone pivoted into our colors, which happens sometimes. But yeah, now it's just all green, blue, black. Yeah, I don't want 4 Spear Guard. I'll take another Twin Veil Guide. Yeah. Return Triumphant here. Not super pumped about it. Oh, well, maybe things still are open, because Monstrous Rage is an absurd combat trick. Big combat trick to win a battle, trample over, and leave behind a permanent buff. And there's still a Red Cap Thief here, which is great for splashing and bargaining. Spear Guard for aggro. Ranger for a big creature kind of deck. Yeah, but then things dry up again. And this has also just been a relatively dry pack in general. Not a lot of high power stuff for anybody, really. But certainly not for us. We did wield a 9 Crescendo, so that's great. Certainly play a copy of that in here. Oh, I completely forgot there were 2 in a row. I'm not going to play 2 copies of that. I'm also not going to play an Armory Mice, so I'm just going to rare draft a Rest in Peace. Now... don't think I'm playing Stroke of Midnight, but it seems most likely. Out of the cards we saw in that pack, seemed like the most likely play. And we can just get the 4th Spear Guard anyway. So maybe there just wasn't a lot of red and white getting opened, because we wield the Crescendos, we wield the Spear Guard with like 2 cards left in the pack. So, who knows really with that last pack. Alright, nothing in the sideboard that I'm very interested in playing, although the Unassuming Sage can trigger Celebration if we run up. If we end up being too low on that kind of stuff. If we run out of Celebration cards. If I do end up playing enough white cards, we can use Grasp of Fate for removal, but I don't like that it plays really poorly against main deck enchantment removal, which is something that a lot of people will do in this format. Main deck a little bit of artifact or enchantment removal. Glass Casket plays really poorly against main deck artifact enchantment removal as well, but the fact that it exiles a card early in the game and it's a card that costs mana value 3 or less means by the time they draw into that artifact enchantment removal, it doesn't really matter as much as like with Grasp of Fate, where you're usually exiling like a big card that really matters, and then like them getting it back is super brutal. Yeah, with Glass Casket, I find the concern to be a lot less so, because it just feels like much less of a commitment and done so much earlier in the game. Even though it's only 1 mana less, technically. I don't know. Maybe that's just a psychological thing. So we've got 24 creatures and 11 non-creatures. So many. Oh my god, they fixed... They fixed the deck builder and they didn't even like make a big deal about it. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't, I just didn't see it, but they actually fixed the deck builder. So now you can enter type::CR into the deck builder and you can move cards around freely and it doesn't lag everything out. I am so excited for that. That is so sick. All right, that's pretty awesome. All right, so let's just get as aggressive, as streamlined as we can here, I think. And we have 24 creatures, so we'll start by cutting like at least 6 creatures or something. How many ways do we have to trigger Celebration? Because we want a lot. We have Edgewall Pack and Gutter Dweller 100% making the cut. That's 2 ways to do it. 1 Ratcatcher Trainee. That will do so as well. That's 100% making the cut. And I think that is it for stuff that we really want to main deck. So it might be worth keeping Return Triumphant in here just because it triggers Celebration, as well as Unassuming Sage just because it triggers Celebration. Get that count up to like 5 cards that trigger Celebration without playing anything else, because we have some really powerful Celebration payoffs. And I might even cut the Twin Veil Guides since I'm not that consistent on Celebration. Of course, we can always just cast 2 2-drops in one turn and that'll do it as well, but we really want to trigger Ash and Belligerent to the Ball as often as possible. What's going on? So I'm going to run the Sage for another way to trigger Celebration, run the Return Triumphant for that as well. And I think I'd rather have Hearth Elemental than these other 2 5-drops, and I don't want that much at the top end of my curve. I'd rather have Two-Headed Hunter than Bellowing Bruiser, though, I think. So we'll just drop the Bruiser for now. Don't like the Protective Parents too much. Don't love the first little pig in here. Main deckable artifact enchantment removal's cute and everything, but I think it's a 2-mana 2/2 with no text a lot more often than the rest of our creatures. Even Picnic Ruiner sometimes gets that double strike. And we, of course, have the Edgewall in Green Splash, the Flick a Coin. Once in a blue moon getting stolen goodies. I don't think I want 4 Spear Guards either. So let's drop a Parents, a Pig, and like 1 Spear Guard at least. Puts us down to 18 creatures. About the maximum I really want to play around with. And yeah, looking at the creatures here, so few on the white stuff, on the white cards in general. I think I'd like to just drop the double white cards and not have to worry about that. Even though these are the best ways to kill big creatures, by the time our opponent plays big creatures, hopefully we just have a wide enough board state to attack with enough creatures that we just kill them anyway, even with a few chump attacks in there. And we've got a couple ways to get around the big creatures like Gnaw and Crescendo to get that extra damage, and the Archon's Glory to jump into the sky. Not a lot, but a couple. I still need to cut 4 cards here. Maybe I do drop the Hunter. This kind of works as a non-creature card draw spell. Keep that curve super low. Could even cut a land there at that point. Going to 16 here. Treating this as a 2-drop card draw spell. Unfortunately, we did not find any hopeful vigils to go with the stockpiling Celebrant. So it might not even be that good. And it doesn't work with Cooped Up, because you have to have an instant way to use Cooped Up. You need to be able to put Cooped Up's ability on the stack to exile enchanted creature, and then pick it up in response. And I can't pick it up in response, because Celebrant I can only play at sorcery speed. But you can like put Cooped Up's ability to exile the enchanted creature on the stack and then bargain it in response to an Archon's Glory or something. That's the very cute thing you can do. Which you can't really do with the Celebrant. Yeah, maybe I'm just dropping Celebrant, even Sage at this point. And really just going White Splash instead, putting in a Spear Guard. Two-Headed Hunter or Bruiser at the top of the curve. Dropping white cards. Just get dang near mono red. Just like, just be mono red. Splash in, like Cooped Up. Maybe Cooped Up, Glass Casket, and Bunnycorn. Maybe not even the Archon's Glory. I don't know, I'll splash in the Archon's Glory too, but it's like mono red splash white here, which is very cute. This is 9 red sources, 7 white sources. And an Edgewall in that could be either. But if we're good on red and white sources, we'll just always make sure to play the Edgewall in on green for if I ever hit a Picnic Ruiner. I don't think I really want to put a forest in here because those numbers get really messed up if we put a forest in here. Dropping from 9 red sources down to 8 or 7 white sources down to 6. Just so I can use Picnic Ruiner's Adventure just doesn't feel worth it. I think Picnic Ruiner's Adventure needs to be just treated as a bonus rather than like a necessity. We shouldn't muddy up the mana base for that. So yeah, I think this looks fine to me. I might even go 10-6. But Ash is much better turn 2. Bunnycorn can still wait, but Ash is much stronger. You play her earlier. Still want like 7 white sources for her. Yeah. Mono red splash, white aggro. Little tiny green splash as well. Just do the thing. We'll call it a deck here. All right, here's a look at the final deck list for today, which is close to just mono red aggro, but we've got a bit of a white splash for some great 2-drop creatures. We've got an Ash Party Crasher that can keep getting bigger and bigger as long as we're celebrating while we attack with her, and a Regal Bunnycorn that just gets really big when you have any amount of non-land permanents on the board. So some really excellent 2-drop aggro dorks and tons of red ones as well with Rat Catchers, some Picnic Ruiners, some Grand Ball Guests, and just a lot of red creatures in general. Some Spear Guards, Belligerent to the Ball, Daredevil, Redcap Gutter Dweller for a massive card draw engine, Edgewall Pack for another way to get a wide board state, and Hearth Elemental at the very top of the curve. Once we're out of other stuff to do, we can draw a couple cards off of this and slam down a 4 or 5 later. So some really nice stuff throughout the creature curve, and some decent removal to clear a path and back it up with a cut-in, a cooped up, and a glass casket, and yeah, a couple ways to push extra damage in with Monstrous Rage and Archon's Glory to get flying or trampled to get around their blockers, and a Gnawing Crescendo for when we have a wide enough board state to buff all our creatures up and find lethal. So really nice looking red-white aggro deck today, and kind of an interesting one for the Alchemy drafts because we are running 0 Alchemy cards. I think we only drafted 1, and it was a pig, which we could play for main deck artifact enchantment removal, whatever, but it's not a particularly exciting body for an aggressive deck. So that's everything we have going for us today. Without further ado, let's just head into the gameplay and see how it does. Here we are on the play for game 1 with an excellent hand. With the Edgewall in for white mana, we get to play an Ash on turn 2 and immediately attack with her, and then if we draw any land in the whole deck, then we get to play a 2-drop and a 1-drop on turn 3 to trigger the celebration and attack in for 3 damage with Ash on that turn. Is it more damage to play Bunnycorn first? No, because of the haste. Right, Ash would be 2 now and then 3 next turn for 5 total. Bunnycorn would be 0 now and then 3 next turn. Yeah, it's definitely Ash first. We did hit a land. We hit a mountain immediately, so it's going to be pretty difficult, I think, for our opponent to try to survive this initial onslaught, but we'll see what they have going for them. Hopeful Vigil will start things off, which is not going to be enough to block Ash. So I could Ratcatcher Trainee, but with the Bunnycorn in hand, I just want to put that thing on the board. Because that is going to be so big so quickly with this hand. So attack in with the 3/3 Ash. There's a Stockpiling Celebrant to pick up the Hopeful Vigil so they can get some decent value here. Can make Bunnycorn a 5/5 out of nowhere with Ratcatcher Trainee. That's not going to be enough. For the Bunnycorn to not trade into both creatures. I think we probably just play Picnic Ruiner Grand Ball Guest here and attack with everybody. Does that trigger Celebration? So the only way they kill either of our big creatures is by double blocking one of them, and I think that's their only good block here, is to double block and kill one of our 2 big creatures, which still leaves 1 behind to give Picnic Ruiner double strike, and to profit off of using Ratcatcher Trainee next turn. I mean, if they have... Ooh, the only thing that makes sense to me here is that they have a board wipe. There is a 5 mana board wipe in the set. Hopefully we can outrace that. But they do have a lot of blockers. I would think that'd be like the one way they might not die now is just board wipe and that's it. I do need to pre-combat the Ratcatcher Trainee if I want to counter on Ash, so let's do that. Why on the actual planet Earth would you auto-tap like that, Arena? Well, you see, Edgewall Inn is a non-basic land, so it's much more important. No, Arena, we have a red spell. I need a mountain. Sometimes I despise Magic Arena. So we send in the team. They can double block and kill Ash, but Picnic Ruiner's double striking in here. Grand Ball Guest is trampling. The Bunnycorn's gone to this Candy Grapple anyway, so I don't see a huge reason to try to leave the board state super wide. If they kill a rat token for free, sure, they kill a rat token for free. But I don't think they can even afford to do that life total-wise. Yeah, so just wipe the whole board, put them to 2, and then get really mad at Arena for that auto-tap. Although, it might be Arena being a homie in the end, because we were thinking that the one way they would be trying to win would be a board wipe. And they do not have it, or they didn't find the 5th land. There are 2 different board wipes in their color pair, actually, so that very well could have been the thing. They're both rares. I don't know about the alchemy cards in the set, really, but in the main set of Wilds of Eldraine, there's a 5 mana, just destroy all creatures board wipe, basically, in white. And there's also a 5 mana, exile X creatures from your grave. All creatures get -X/-X in black. So either of those would have been horrendous for me. So maybe Arena was just trying to make sure I didn't overcommit to the board in case they did have the board wipe. Still annoying. Still would be nice to have the option. Either way, excellent way to start things off. That was an insane hand that I think very few decks would be able to beat there, as we were just on the play with wild cards. So 1-0 heading into game 2. Here we are on the play now for game 2. Certainly looking to draw some mana for this red cap Gutter Dweller, but we can already cast both these Spear Guards and a Grand Ball Guest. Get pretty aggressive from the start, so I'm happy with that. And we have found another land, so we'll be able to play the Crescendo. At the very least, everything except the Gutter Dweller is now accessible. There's a Rat Catcher trainee. Well, that's a beautiful draw, because now I can attack in, and if they try to block, we get that instant speed combat trick to blow up the Rat Catcher trainee without losing the Grand Ball Guest. That was just the literal best draw in our deck if our opponent wanted to try to block there. Lord Skitter, speaking of best cards in the deck, Lord Skitter is an excellent bomb, but so is Gutter Dweller. Do we try to just out-bomb them here and just slam it down, or do I just Crescendo? If I save Crescendo for next turn, with this many creatures, it's like almost impossible they don't just straight die, right? Is it worth sacking a rat to deal an extra 2 right now? I don't think with Crescendo in hand. But maybe. I mean, this board state's insane. So removal spell on Gutter Dweller would still be able to just play Spear Guard and Crescendo them to death. I think even if they play another blocker, this is just insanity. We only have to hit them with 4 creatures to kill them off Crescendo, because every creature hits for at least 3, even if it started with 1 power. Yeah, I mean, we just go for the free win here. And we get it. Very simple, very fast game of Magic. Just another completely busted opening hand. Gets us another victory, and we are 2-0 heading into game 3. Here we are now on the play again for game 3. Great luck on those coin flips of being on the play versus on the draw. Being the aggressive deck, we're always going to be advantaged being on the play. There's the steady Tortoise from our opponent, getting the hare onto the board turn 1 to attack every single turn and keep buffing up the Tortoise, so by the time they play it, they've got a massive Tortoise on the board. Very fun card. I love these kinds of just really cute designs they add to the alchemy stuff. Sir Ginger, turn 2. We do find the white source here. Probably just playing Picnic Ruiner. Yeah, we just offer the trades here. All right, cool. Trade into Sir Ginger. Yeah, I'm gonna play the Picnic Ruiner. Because if I don't hit another land next turn, then I get to like play the Daredevil and attack with a double striking 2/2. Feels better to attack with a double striking 2/2 than it does to attack with a 4/2. Because it's just harder to kill it in combat. And it looks like it just gets removed either way. So I don't really want to cut in their 1/1 rabbit, so we'll just play an Edgewall pack. As we have found the 4th land. There's a Dragon Mantle onto the little bunny, so I guess we will actually go ahead and use removal on that now. It could double buff if I block to trade up into the Edgewall pack, so we don't want to do that. They are going to discard their hand to draw a couple cards here. The Hearth Elemental is going to be 5 mana, so that's going to be too expensive. Oh, if I draw a Gutter Dweller, then I'm just playing that. Yeah, they're at 16 already, and putting 3 more creatures on this board is really going to pressure them. They're down to 11, facing 6 creatures. There is the 5th mana. They could play a really big Tortoise or a 4/5 Hearth Elemental. They're going to go for the Agatha's Champion. Excellent card there. Kill the Gutter Dweller and leave behind a 4/4. But now I can cut in the Champion then. And that's the play for sure. Cut in the Champion. Next turn they have to tap out for a single large blocker, and we just use the size of our board state to our advantage, where they can only block one of our creatures, and just die on board even if we didn't have the Daredevil combat trick. Right, they block the Young Hero Rat and take 5 damage. Yeah, that is going to be the game. Just some more explosive, egregiously aggressive plays from the deck, and we are now 3-0 heading into Game 4. Here we are now for Game 4, on the play again. We're just never not on the play, and we've got the Gutter Dweller turn 4 again. Might Edgewall in on red mana just so I know I can get that Gutter Dweller down, but I think I'm saving the Edgewall in to play on turn 3 so I can curve out with this Picnic Ruiner, because I don't have a 3-drop to curve out with here. And the Ruiner will get double strike this game if they don't kill the Gutter Dweller, because the Gutter Dweller will be a 4/4 by the time it attacks. Alright, if I don't hit any lands here, I think I have to Edgewall in on red. And I've got double combat tricks, so send in the team. Obviously, well, not obviously, but also I played the Picnic Ruiner, so I don't in the hand need the green mana. I would just need it I would just need it if I drew my next Picnic Ruiner. Might have been worth it to throw the Monstrous Rage at that too, just for extra damage. Because it's like an extra 3 right now, and an extra 1 every turn for the rest of the game. Alright, Monstrous Rage does not save against 3 damage, sadly. Well, there's the Gutter Dweller. So there's that. There's their own Gutter Dweller. Glass Casket, not big enough for that. Opponent's at 15 here? Oh my god. I mean, it's revealed, but that's still a non-crescendo. They know they can't block at all, or they lose the Gutter Dweller, but also if they don't block, they just die, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12? Yep. Oh my god. At some point, we have to stop drawing Redcap Gutter Dweller, right? At some point, we can't keep getting away with it. But that game was not that point, and we are now 4-0 with draws and curve outs that are nigh unstoppable for the vast majority of decks in this format to compete with. Just insane draws today. Guaranteed breaking even from here, but see if we can't keep it up as we head into game number 5 now. And here we are for game 5. Start with a turn 2 Bunnycorn and no creatures to play alongside it, but Monstrous Rage is pretty good on that. It's a huge combat trick. And the quality of the spells alongside the Bunnycorn are very high in this hand. Again, just hoping to draw some creatures, but if we do, I think the hand's pretty beautiful. There is a Spear Guard as our first draw. A little awkward, because obviously it's much better turn 1. I think I just jam out the Bunnycorn. There's a Welcome to Sweet Tooth. Okay. Just jam out a Spear Guard and send in the team. I doubt they're going to try to trade their 1/1 into the Spear Guard, because then they lose out on the +1/+1 counters, which would be a lot of +1/+1 counters to lose out on, because they'll have 2 food. Do I want to be mana efficient here and just coop up a 1/1? No way, because then they have the best bargain of all time. I should probably be playing this Monstrous Rage more aggressively, though. I think I should have just played it there, because it would have hit for like an extra 5 damage that turn, because it's another permanent for the Bunnycorn plus the extra 3. I guess an extra 4 damage that turn. Another Welcome to Sweet Tooth. Okay, that's really bad for me. So, cut in the flyer. I can cut in the flyer here to put a Young Hero roll on Spear Guard, so Bunnycorn's a 3/3 and Spear Guard attacks is a 2/2. Then we can coop up whatever they put the counters onto. I guess using cooped up on the flyer works out better for me, because I get to exile it, they don't get the extra stuff. Or I can just leave it on their board, because they can't bargain away the flyer. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can also just do that. We can just coop up the flyer now. Get the extra Bunnycorn damage in. Do I Monstrous Rage for even more extra damage? Putting Trample on a Bunnycorn's a pretty big deal, but then if they have any removal, it's going to play super duper rough. They're green, black, white. I mean, they 100% know we have a trick by now. Anyway, at this point. Okay, there's a food token from Gumdrop Poisoner. So once they have 5 mana, they can eat a food and kill something with Gumdrop Poisoner. But also they now have infinite food tokens with Welcome to Sweet Tooth, so cut-in's just not going to be big enough. Alright, yeah, we're kind of getting destroyed. Which is fair. After the way that the first games have gone, it is fair we find a loss here, and it really is looking like a loss. 2 of some of the best uncommons in the whole set, with the Gumdrop Poisoner that synergizes super well with them and is also just a phenomenal 2-for-1 rare. I've also played this out pretty loose. I think I should have just Monstrous Raged, like, on my first attack. I don't think it's going to end up... I don't think it would have ended up helping that much, considering the fact that they have so much food tokens by now anyway. But it would have given us like the tiniest opportunity in the universe to outrace them. At this point, it looks really impossible. Because now this is just going to be a trade, and then their other 1/1's going to be like a 6/6. and they have 12 points of life gain on the board. And they can just gumdrop poison or the spear guard, yeah. This is probably how all of our first 4 opponents felt. So we've earned this. We deserve this. Now they have a 3-power lifelinker and 9 more points of life gain. Guess I get 2 points of damage for free, and then if I draw into anything that triggers Celebration, then I can buff the Belligerent to also give the Picnic Rune or Double Strike, which is cute. Oh, now I'm just getting combat tricked. There's no chance they attack with Poisoner here without the trick. It might even be the No Way Out where it comes back to the board and then kills something. No, maybe it's just regular Graveyard Recursion. No, they're just getting aggressive. All right. Well, fair enough, I guess. At 7 life here. They're at 13. Crescendo super bad now because I'm just out of stuff, out of creatures for it. I have to chump the 6/6 and take the rest of the damage. They're basically at 22 life right now with all these food. Okay. I'll let them kill me with top deck removal. I'm already at the point where I have to be chumping with Belligerent. Oh, the Bivouac puts a counter on any of my creatures? That's kind of sick. I did not know that. That might have been interesting earlier. I thought it just puts the counters on itself. I was thinking of Raging Ravine, one of the old ones. When it's going to scry 2, draw another card, and gain another 3 now. They immediately scry to the top, because the top card was already good. Let's see what it is. Griffinary with all this food. Yeah, that's egregious, I would say. Alright, that'll do it. 4 and 1, getting a taste of our own medicine there with just an incredibly busted hand from our opponent. The double Welcome to Sweet Tooth with another food producer. The 1 mana 3/2, or sorry, the 3 mana 3/2 food producer that makes a food for 1, and the rare 2-for-1 removal spell food producer. So they're just putting like 10 +1/+1 counters on the board with those 2 cards. Insanity from our opponent. We are 4 and 1 heading into round number 6. Here we are with that Insta-Mulligan for game 6, and this is a much better hand. This is a super spicy one. I think I ditch a land here. We still have 3 very great spells to play without drawing into another land, and as soon as we draw any one land, the entire hand is castable. Ooh, now we have a Cooped Up, which is a great removal spell to go with the Bunny Corn. Both these removal spells are just excellent with Bunny Corn. The fact that they sit on the board give us a permanent. Okay, let's Glass Casket the Root Rider. Hit for 4. Tanglespan Lookout. Can coop that up. I would rather Monstrous Rage it to just completely get it off the board. So let's just... I guess if I Monstrous Rage it, then the Spear Guard dies. So I don't keep the monster roll. It is just cooped up. You know what? I'm going to make up for past mistakes, I think, here. Maybe I'm making a mistake based on how this game is going, but I think this is pretty chill with me. Just jam in for a million and just put my opponent down to 5. To where, like, if they only play one blocker here, now they just have to trump Bunnycorn for the rest of the game. All right, there's an Up the Beanstalk to draw a card. We'll see if they can do enough for 2 mana to survive here. Doesn't really look like it. Let's see. Ooh, is this going to be destroy an attacking creature, kill the Bunnycorn? Be pretty good. It is indeed. All right, that will let them survive then. There's nothing I could draw into that would instantly lethal them, so I'm just going to hold on to the Flick a Coin. Although if I use it now, I could cast a 2-drop next turn, and in green-white, they're probably not playing a 1 toughness card. Yeah, if I draw into a 2-drop creature, putting it on board right now to get rid of its summoning sickness would be a big deal. There you go. That 2-drop creature, though, does have an impressive adventure. But then I'm weak to like 1 removal spell. They just play a single Cooped Up on the Spear Guard, and I hold this and I'm doing nothing next turn. I guess I will jam it out here, force them to have 2 removal spells or 2 creatures. It's got to be a combination of 2 cards here to live another turn. Okay, so Royal Treatment to draw a card, dig for some outs. And they don't find one, so that is going to be the game. I don't know about that aggressive Monstrous Rage use in that game. I think definitely in the game we lost we should have done it, but in that one, I don't know how it ended up panning out in the end. Maybe probably should have just kept it in hand. I don't know. What I do know is that we're 5-1 now, in the money, guaranteed to be leaving this draft with more gems than we paid to enter, so excellent spot to be, whatever happens from here. Here we are for game number 7. On the play, no 1-drop. Not used to that. Hit a lot of Spear Guards today, but that's fine. Getting started with the Grand Ball Guest on 2 is going to be fine too, especially when we draw into the Ratcatcher training to go with it. Very happy to play that. This turn, do I play it instead of a Daredevil? I think I do. Let's get our pest problem onto the board. Rats everywhere. Glorious, glorious rats. There's a Cursed Kurt here. We do not hit land 4, so let's flick a coin on that. That seems pretty reasonable. And still do not hit land 4, but we draw a card closer to it, and we have this treasure token we can use to play a 4-mana spell next turn, or 2 2-drops if I need to. There's a Howling Gale Fang. Probably a good time for Cooped Up. So how about Cooped Up and Grand Ball Guest for the turn? Trigger Celebration, hit for a good amount of damage. Looks pretty good to me. They are down to 8. It's a Heartflame Duelist, just a 2-mana 3/1 here. Gives their other instants and sorceries lifelink, but I don't think that matters in the green-white deck. They could have Kellen's Lightblades. I guess it would matter for that. 3 damage to an attacker or blocker all of a sudden becomes 3 damage to an attacker or blocker and you gain 3 life. There's a Ginger Brute as well. That's it. No land here. I could kind of like Desperation dig for land with Witch's Mark, but I think Glass Casketing the Duelist and just attacking with everybody's perfectly reasonable. So I'm going to do that here. Alright, they do have the Light Blades to go with the Duelist, which is what I was thinking about when I wanted to maybe casket the Duelist. As we were mentioning those light blades earlier, there's a Twin Veil guide for another potential lifelinker. Any way to kill them here? Daredevil could out of nowhere. If they block the guest and a rat, we can put them to 1 with Daredevil's ability. If I use Witch's Mark, that could be how we kill them here. So we use Witch's Mark and get a Wicked roll. Wicked roll onto the guests. They have to just like chump that. I guess I could just play Ash at that point. And attack with 2 3/3s. They have to chump the 2 3/3s and take 2. Yeah, no, we're just gonna Wicked roll and play Ash, I guess. Which means I actually discard the Daredevil, weirdly. And then play Edgeball Pack next turn because it triggers Celebration. If this is somehow not lethal, but I'm pretty sure it is. This is 4 power trample and a 3/3 and 2 1/1s. They don't have the mana to eat a food. They've only got 1 green up. I don't know what that could possibly be. Royal Treatment. Well then they're not technically dead because they can stop all the Grand Ball Guest damage. But yeah, then they have to chump and take 2 and it's not going to be enough. So they still concede the game there and we are now 6-1, only 1 win away from a 7-win trophy run here. So we'll cross our fingers a bit, see if we can't get that in the next couple games, but it is time for the final boss. And here we are on the play with turn 1 Spearguard into turn 4 Redcap Gutter Dweller. We've got the Witch's Mark to dig for the mountains that we need for it too, and the Gnawing Crescendo to go with the really wide board state to try to find that lethal out of nowhere. I like the look of the hand. I mean, I prefer having 2-drop creatures than a Witch's Mark turn 2. But I think this is still reasonable. Dig for that second mountain. We don't find it yet, but we're 2 cards closer now. There's a Scarecrow guide. Monstrous Rage cannot actually win this combat, so Spearguard is just going to be trading off at this point, and then probably use the Ratcatcher trainee here. Or we'll just deal the damage and then we'll still use the Ratcatcher trainee. The issue with the Monstrous Rage here that makes it so it can't save the Spearguard is the fact that it would replace the current roll with a monster roll, so Spearguard would not get any extra toughness. Alright, so here's the Golden Opportunity, which did look really good. Like a super good card draw kind of play. Because the next turn they can tap the Goose and sack the food that it made to get a Golden Egg. And then they can tap the Goose and sack the Golden Egg to get another Golden Egg, so that's like 2 extra pieces of card draw, along with the mana filtering or the mana ramp from the Goose. Pretty cool. It's going to be a little bit of a roadblock for us, but not a lot. Like, the eggs can gain them life. The Goose can block 1/1s, like some little stuff like that, but overall, don't think going to put us in a significantly worse position here or anything. If I really, really care, I can completely counter the rest of it by just Monstrous Raging on this Rat token. But I think it's better to just play Gutter Dweller right now, so that next turn I can play Gnawing Crescendo and Monstrous Rage in the same turn and probably just have lethal. Because yeah, even if they get their Golden Egg here, that's 1 blocker tapped. Regardless. There's a Jewel Mine Overseer, very cool ability, but our opponent is also very, 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 very dead. Sack a Rat, because it's still well over lethal. Send in the team, drop the Crescendo, that is already super lethal because they can't block the Gutter Dweller, so they take 6 from that and 9 from the rats. It's 15 damage without the Monstrous Rage. Yeah. Alright. So, yeah. Gnawing Crescendo with Ratcatcher Trainees and Redcap Gutter Dweller, still a completely filthy, completely disgusting thing that you can do in Wilds of Eldraine Alchemy drafts. You don't have to play around with the new Alchemy cards if you don't want to, even though that's kind of the point. But I guess we get 6 packs of Wilds of Eldraine Alchemy, so we're going to get 6 Alchemy cards regardless, even if we only drafted 1. Even if we only drafted the first little pig. But yeah, I mean, the deck was incredible. I mean, it helped a lot that we drew absolutely insane hands. Like, we drew the Redcap Gutter Dweller so often. I think it won maybe 5 out of the 7 games. We drew the Bunnycorn pretty often. Just drew a lot of our really, really powerful cards here. I guess it really is only the 2 rares, the 1 Gutter Dweller and the 1 Bunnycorn. We just drew both of them frequently. Yeah, I mean, that Crescendo with those Ratcatcher Trainee, Edgeball Pack, Gutter Dweller board states was insane. The quadruple Spear Guard was actually pretty awesome here. Like, it got to the point where the games where I didn't have turn 1 Spear Guard, I was like pretty disappointed because I'm just got so used to it in the end, you know? And just making sure that you have those wide board states, we saw it quite often. Sometimes even without the Gnawing Crescendo, just being able to attack in with enough creatures 2 times in a row against 1 or 2 blockers can just kill your opponent, even if you're losing your attacking creatures. So there were a couple games there where we did win doing attacks like that, but most of them was the wide board state and the Gnawing Crescendo. We just drew that so often at the right time. We did draw it in a really bad position as well, the one game that we lost. We did draw the Crescendo in that game as well. Yeah, overall, everything played just incredibly. Nothing really even to mention as a massive underperformer or anything. Well, I guess it would be Hearth Elemental, because the deck was just so fast. I don't think we ever did this. But I also don't know if we ever drew it in the first place. Maybe we did once or twice. We did win quite a few games with like 3 or 4 cards still in our hand. But yeah, that was just a bit slow for everything. Picnic Ruiner, I think it got Double Strike once or twice, but it didn't really do anything that spicy. So that could also be a little bit of an underperformer, but all in all, 7-1, super happy with that. That is an incredible run, and that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you're interested in seeing some more videos like this, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more of these videos in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, where I'm live every Wednesday. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.